And we teach universal principles. Universal principles because that means that everyone gets to use them. I'm not special, I am unique, and so are you. And we get to uniquely use these tools and these laws to create the life that we're looking for. The tools we use, prayer and meditation. Simple as that, two things, prayer and meditation. So we get to speak to God through prayer, not pleading or beseeching, but as you just said earlier, just claiming, just putting in a claim, a demand on the universe. A demand must be made. The universe is abundant, but a demand must be made, and that's what we do through prayer. Meditation is simply hearing a word from that which is greater than ourselves, whatever you want to call it. God, universal principle, law, George, whatever works for you, call it that, and have a relationship. And that's what we teach. So I want to ask the question today, what are you here for? What are you here for? Set an intention. The reason why I ask that is because wherever I go, whether I'm taking a class, giving a class, here today, what is my intention? I set it so that I make sure that whatever I came to do, whatever I came to get, I get that. And I'm asking you to do the same. It doesn't matter. I don't need you to know what it is. It's for you. Set the intention. I came here to hear a word. I came here to hear a song. I came here to be around my tribe, whatever you came to do, and feel loved and belonging. Make that claim on the universe, and it is yours. That's how we pray. So last week, I like to try to pull together the talk so that it kind of makes sense from week to week. Sometimes it doesn't. It is what it is. But last week's talk was the marathon continues. And we simply talked about the marathon continues because that's life. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It continues. And when we understand that, we don't get so worked up about what did or did not work out today. Because we get to change our mind today to change tomorrow. So there's always hope. There's always a demand we can make, and it continues. So we don't need to get all caught up in, oh my God, time is passing. Yes, of course it passes. That's what it does. But that's okay. That's okay because the marathon in life will continue. And there's another opportunity. There are many, many opportunities because the universe is abundant. It is abundant. There are many opportunities. When I was growing up, I would hear things like, oh, you're going to miss that opportunity. You're going to miss that opportunity. Yes, I will. But another one will come by. Missing an opportunity doesn't mean another one isn't on the way. It's on the way. It always is. So that's what I want you to know about that. That's what we talked about last week. The marathon continues. This week, and there was some discussion about what this talk title was, because the talk title is "Don't Be a Seatback Driver." And everybody was saying, "Seatback? Do you mean back seats?" And no, I meant seatback because I was quoting my little 3-year-old grandson, and that's what he said. And I wanted to, and the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because even he at 3 knew the thing that we talk about all the time. You can't answer a question that isn't being asked. You can't give advice to someone who doesn't want it. And you know they don't want it because why? They didn't ask you for it, right? They didn't ask you for it. So he knew that. So what was happening was that I was visiting my daughter. You guys know I go to LA quite often and was visiting my daughter. This was a while back. My oldest grandson that you met, Trey, he's 23 now, but he was 3 at the time. I remember this story. It was so cute. And we were on the 405. It was a very crowded highway by the airport. And my daughter was trying to get over, and there was a car that was zooming up and getting into the lane she was about to get into. And so I said, hey, watch out. And so she saw it. So she pulled back into her lane. My grandson in the back seat, he goes, Grandma, don't be a seatback driver. And I looked at my daughter, like, what is that? And she said, oh, he's just talking about, because his other grandparents, Delia and Mark is always telling Delia how to drive. And she's always, stop being a backseat driver. Stop being a backseat driver. So she heard that. The point is that you know, even at 3, you don't need to give people advice you're not asking for. That's trouble. That's trouble for you. It's causing problems in your relationship. We don't need to be a seatback driver. We don't need to give advice that no one is asking for or answer the question no one is asking. And yet, we do it all the time. So my point today is to talk about why is that? Why we already know. The 3, I see some grinning going on here again. All right, so we already know. We know that we don't need to give advice that's being asked for, and yet we continue to try to do that. And so I want to speak to that today. Why is it that we know something and yet we continue to do what we know isn't going to work? Why do we do it? Here's PJ's theory. I don't know, but here's my theory, because here's why I do it. Because I'm trying to save someone some pain. I've been there. I know what you're getting ready to step into, and it's not going to work out the way you think. And so, just trying to spare you just a little bit of pain. And that's what we do, right? We're here, we talk about all the time, what is ours to do? You just said it earlier in your prayer. What's ours to do? We're always looking to figure out what's ours to do. And sometimes we think ours is to serve and to help. I believe that we're all here. People talk about what your purpose is. I think we all have the same purpose, and that is to travel this life and help fellow travelers. Now, how we do it is about our gifts. We do it based on the gifts we have, the things that resonate in our hearts to do. Travel, to help foreign countries, to sing, to write, to whatever it is. Those are our gifts that we use, but the purpose that we're all here to do, really, is to help one another. To help one another as we travel through this land. We're all fellow travelers. And so we're trying to spare fellow travelers this pain of stepping into something in this boo-boo that you're about to step into and you don't really know it. So, okay, that's what I've been saying. You can't answer a question. But I was watching something. Did you guys watch NYPD Blues? I love it. I love this show. And the reason why I love it is you guys know I'm a retired police officer from California, NYPD Blues, New York Police Department. And it was back on in the, I don't know, but 90s, I think, or something, it was a while back, but I watch it in reruns all the time because it's so authentic. Because I've worked with criminals, and criminals are just as stupid as they portray on the show. Just dumb. So just dumb. So I watch it all the time. And there's a particular character on there, his name is Sergeant Sipowicz, and he's very difficult to deal with. He's very difficult to deal with. He's racist, and he's a drunk, and he's all these things. He turns out to be the character that has the largest arc in terms of changing and becoming this wonderful person. Still a little difficult to deal with, but he's just learned so many lessons. So he's talking with the woman he's about to marry, Connie. And they are wanting to adopt Connie's sister's baby because her sister has passed away. And so they have taken her in as a foster child. But then the grandparents of the father try to come and petition for full custody. So that's the discussion. And Sipowicz is now upset because he knows they're going to use his past life, his drunkenness, his belligerence, his trouble that he's gotten into, his racism, all the things, to make him out to be a bad father. And he's feeling bad about it. And he's telling Connie, because they haven't gotten married yet, they're about to get married so they can legitimize and have a great place for the kid to be. And he's saying, I feel like who I am right now, like all my past experiences are going to make it difficult for you to have this child. And so if I need to step away, so that you can have the baby, I will do that. And she says this thing right here that changed my mind about, not didn't change it, but added to what I know about giving advice. She said, all the experiences that you have, all the things that you have done, make you this beautiful person that I love right now. Right now. And that's what made me think about whether or not you want to give advice or not. Because the thing that we talk about, and I mean this sincerely, is what is yours to do? And the question becomes, how do you know what is yours to do? And the only way to know what is yours to do is to ask Spirit. Spirit is the only true source. It's the only source that is connected to everything and everyone you're trying to do and be around. Everything that you want is connected through God. We are connected to one another. We are one. We are one. So if I am to do something, what is mine to do? The question becomes, Spirit, what is mine to do? That's a prayer. What is mine to do? The meditation is to listen to what Spirit tells you. And then do that. Do that. So I'm at a church that my sister was going to. Back, it was over in, some while ago, when I was over in Frisco. It was a wonderful little Baptist church and had great music, a great choir. And so I would go a couple of Sundays when I was off from And the minister, I was reading Emily Katie's Lessons in Truth. Just a little bitty tome about this big. Take you about a year, like it's taken us to go through it. About a year to go through it because it's just so rich and it has so many great things in it. I was reading the book. Something that the minister said, Spirit said to me, give him this book. Give him Lessons in Truth. I'm sorry. So I'm immediately arguing. What are you talking about? This is a Baptist minister. He's not going to want to read Emily Katie, we're all one, and we're all individualized expression. He's not going to give the man the book. Okay. And they didn't tell me that while I was there. So they told me that later at the house, and I wasn't going back. So I said, oh, okay. So I gave the book to my sister because she was going back. I said, Essie, my sister's name Essie. I said, Essie, give this to the minister. I don't know why, but I know that she's obedient to Spirit. So I said, just give him the book. Let go of what you should do, whether he should get it or nothing like that. Just Spirit said, give it to him. So just give it to him, please. She said, okay, I will. I don't know if he ever got it. I don't know. I don't know if my sister felt like she needed to pass it on. I don't know if the book was for him, for her, or whoever might read it, no matter where she did with the book. Do you know how sometimes you go look for a book and it's already on your shelf? And you're wondering, where did this book come from? Like someone gave it to you, like, yeah. You put it away, but when you need it, it's there. That's how Spirit works. So you can let go. I can let go of whether he got it, whether it was meant for him. All I needed to do was to do what Spirit said do. Give him the book. Okay? And wherever that book travels, that's where the book travels. And that's Spirit's business, not mine. That is the reason why I'm letting go a little bit. I still believe that we don't answer a question that isn't being asked. Give advice that no one's asked you for. However, if you're involved in something and you ask Spirit, what is mine to do? And Spirit says, tell them. Spirit will tell you, tell them or keep your mouth shut. He's told me that a lot. Shut it down. They're not going to appreciate it. And of course, I've argued and gone on and done it, and he was correct. Or he, she, it, whatever you want to call it. George was correct. And so, but that's what we do. So, it's a good, the things that are universal laws are universal laws. They're always true. They're always true. There's nothing to think about. If you, God said, I will answer all your prayers. You pray, I'll answer. That's a promise from God, period. So that is the truth. We don't need to worry about that. Okay? But these things that I'm telling you about from experiences, I've shared with you what I know to be true for me. They may or may not be true for you, just in terms of how my experiences played out. What I know is that answering a question that isn't being asked, generally speaking, doesn't work. However, if you're involved in something and you ask Spirit what to do and you follow what Spirit says to do, it always works. It always works. You can take it to the bank. That is what we know for sure. That is what we know for sure. That is the reason why all the time I will talk with you about prayer and meditation. There's no point in getting involved in something where you are in a tight spot, where there's a lot of emotion going on, and it's the first time you pray. You won't recognize the voice or the answer, because God doesn't speak to everyone the same way. Yeah, God speaks to me like I'm talking to you because that's what I asked for. For another friend, it comes in the form of hummingbirds. She'll see a hummingbird, whether it's a real one or a jewelry or some piece of hummingbird. All of us get a message from God, and however we do it, maybe there'll be some coincidence, seeming coincidence, that affirms what you know to be true already. That's how God works. But what happens is you build your faith. Your faith is built by experience. Your experience of God and answering prayer builds your faith. And you understand how God works through you. That is why it's so important for you to pray and meditate, and then take action on what God is telling you to do when you ask what is mine to do. Then your experience builds, your faith builds, you understand how it works. And when you are in some emergency situation, when you you are in some place, like I shared with you guys a couple of weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, about the situation that my children are in. Just having a very difficult time and really ready to throw in the towel. And of course I wanted to go and give them all kinds of advice about what they needed to do. Ugh! And I said, what's mine to do? Shut it down. Shut up. It's not yours. It's not yours. Okay, well, can I just pray that you'll fix it? You can pray that I'll be there if they ask for me. Yeah? Right? There has to be a demand. If a prayer is answered, it has to be a demand. That's what happens. So that's what we do. That's what we're talking about. So what, again, all the talks that I try to do here are prescriptive, meaning I give you a way to do it. I don't want to share here and talk with you and say, well, this is how it works. This is the experience, and how do you actually go out and embody it? How do you take the knowledge and own it? Because otherwise, if you can't own it, you can't use it. Yeah. So what do? You simply ask Spirit. You just ask Spirit anywhere you are. In the middle of anything, you can just say, what's mine to do here? What is mine to do here? That is a powerful and quick prayer. You will get an answer right away. If you don't get an answer right away, wait until you do. Do not move forward until you get the answer. You will get it, because why? God promised to answer all prayer. Always. There's not a time when God won't answer. So you'll get the answer you need. Maybe not as quick as you like, but everything is in perfect time, and we know that. So the first thing you want to do is ask, what's mine to do? And what I'm discovering after having, when I heard that piece on New York, NYPD Blue, and what Simplewitz and what his wife Connie was saying, that all of your experiences led you to be the man you are today. One of the reasons why it's not necessarily always a good idea to step in and stop someone from experiencing something, because that could very well be part of their evolution, part of what they need to know, part of their purpose, part of their sympathy. Because when they have walked in those shoes, they already understand how to help. That's why AA works. All the AAs, whatever they are, all the A's, NAAs, AA, BA, whatever they are. That's why they work, because they're there with other like minds that can help them through, that have experienced it. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. That's what we do in this life. That's what we do. So in conclusion, as I close, we don't give advice that's unasked for, because we can't answer a question that isn't being asked. But what we can do is ask, what's ours to do? What is yours to do? There's a little story that I want to tell you about that's so cute. It's the same thing. What's ours to do? What's mine to do? And there was a little story that I saw John Randolph Price, he wrote the Abundance book, the 40-day prosperity program he wrote. And he's from Bernie, Texas. And I actually saw him when I was living in LA. And he and his wife Jan came out to speak at that Science of Mind church that I joined when I first got into New Thought. And so they were talking about going to a little town in Texas, probably must have been Bernie or somewhere near Bernie, because Bernie's pretty small, I might even smaller than that. But they were going to go, and they were hearing back from the people who had asked them to come, that they were getting a lot of flack from the townspeople. You know, they were saying, oh my God, these people are devil worshipers. You don't want them coming. You know, and anybody who goes is a devil worshiper, and this and that. And there was someone on a local radio show that was talking about the two of them coming and how horrible it would be, and you just blasphemy and all this kind of nonsense that they were talking. And so John talked to them and he said, you might want to, it's okay with us. You might want to rethink whether you really want us here or not, because you guys are getting a lot of flack about it. And the woman on the phone, I don't know, she must have been older, or I don't know who she was. She said, okay, well, just a minute. Let me go see what Spirit said. Let me go see what Spirit said. So she put the phone down. She went back, talked to her sisters, whatever she did. Came back. Yeah, Spirit said, y'all come on down. Not only was the place, the church was filled to capacity, they had to put chairs in the parking lot and put speakers out. That's how many people came to hear them speak. So if Spirit tells you to be somewhere, Spirit said, y'all come on down. And they came on down. And it was full to capacity. What is yours to do? What is mine to do, Spirit? Will not leave you long. That's what you need to know. I want to leave you with a final quote from Emily Cady, Lessons in Truth. One of the unerring truths in this universe is that there is already lavish abundance for every human want, already lavish. The supply of every good always awaits the demand. Okay? There is already enough abundance, but what you want is to ask and make the demand. Another truth is that the demand must be made before the supply can come forth and be filled. Do you understand? So two things. The universe is abundant. There is plenty of supply. But to receive the supply you want, you must make a demand for it, which is prayer. Which is prayer. Part of the thing that we do is we, as human beings, we'll just finish this up, to recognize these two statements. There's supply, and then you have to demand it. To recognize the statements of the truth and to affirm them are the whole secret of understanding faith. Faith based on principle. Based on principle. What we talk about here is whatever you want. Just state it clearly. The hardest thing we have to do, I think it was, can't think of the name. It comes up, I'll think of it later on. But anyway, he said you can have whatever you want. In the world, there's only two things you need to do. And two things only. Figure out what you want. Okay? And then pay the price to have it. Pay the price to have it just means to do what you have to do to get it. To do what you become to do it. That's what we have to do. Decide what you want. And then state clearly what it is you want into the universe. Pray. I want. And part of what happens for us is that we're not clear about what we want. Not only that, we get into the business of telling Spirit how it needs to come to us. That is not our business. Right? Our business is, this is what I want, bring it to me. Boom. That's it. Not how. Not, oh, you know what? I know it's a lot to ask. So maybe after I get my paycheck and all this craziness, right? All this craziness. Let it go. Because there's plenty in the universe. All you have to do is make a demand. And it's there. That's what we do. That's who we are. That's how New Thought Spirituality works. A blessing to all of you. Namaste.